Hello all. Alright, kind of cold and foggy here in San Francisco. More like it's supposed to be, not those high temperatures we had all last week and the week before. But let's talk about methane releases. Huge methane emissions from Russia coal mine. The GHG satellite says that greenhouse gases was entering the atmosphere at a rate of 90 tons per hour. A major report last year indicated that 30 to 50% of the current rise in global temperatures is due to methane. The rate of 87,000 kilograms per hour on January 14th is a huge amount released from that mine. This doesn't include the actual use of the coal itself. So that's just the mine, not including the use of the coal. So a lot of people are saying, well, why don't we go to nuclear power instead of this coal, which is really sending methane into the atmosphere at tremendous amounts. The problem with nuclear power, where do you put the waste? Where do you put the waste? The waste lasts for millions of years. Where do you put it where it won't become a problem? If you put it way underground, it will eventually make its way back up out of the ground, just like everything that's in the ground came from down below the ground at one time. What happens with war and a nuclear plant, as we're seeing in the Ukraine? As you see, Russia actually bombed the damn plant. They didn't hit anything important, but they did bomb it, which means that nuclear plants are subject to war damage. Half-life. The waste material itself has a half-life of millions of years. So what do you do with the material that once it's used up and has to be put somewhere? Finding enough cool water to cool a nuclear plant is another problem with global temperature rise. And then if you try to go with solar or wind or water power, all those are limited in scope. So we know that we're in a very sticky wicket here on the planet Earth. And there's only one solution, and that's population. Nobody wants to talk about population control because they think that just means you have to kill other humans. You don't have to kill anybody for population control. You just have to tell people don't have a baby or only have one baby and adopt a baby. And speaking of adoption, if you're overpopulated, how do you feed yourselves? Eventually you're going to run out of food, which we're quickly doing. As we see, our grocery stores are now finding that there's less and less food in them. Putting the population up in housing. Where do you house people without destroying our whole entire environment with endless sprawl of humans? Infectious diseases. The more humans there are, the more diseases you get. They're coming out more and more day by day on what to do about monkeypox. That's a new disease caused by overpopulation. War, because humans want to live in the huge house and the boat and all that. They eventually end up having war over where they live or precious resources. So let's go to human adoption. How does that work? Well, I have a chart right here where it shows how you apply for adoption, and all you have to do is fill out these forms and then you can adopt a child, and you don't have to birth a child. There are so many unwanted children out here right now that need homes, that would love to be adopted. I myself am adopted, and my whole family is adopted, and we all lived a perfectly good life, and my parents never had a child, but yet we ended up with 4 children. That took care of some of the overpopulation problem. If everyone did that, they'd still have children, but they wouldn't have to birth children, making the numbers higher and higher and higher. We're almost at 8 billion people. Where are we going to stop? Well, we're never going to stop overpopulating unless the government says, please stop overpopulating. That's the only way you can do it. You can't do it by me saying don't have kids, because you're still going to have kids. Females want to have children. That's part of being a female. So it has to be made maybe one child, 3 children adopted, that kind of thing. And that way we can take care of the unwanted children around the planet. Overpopulation is one of those places where people don't want to go. They don't want to talk about it, they don't want to do it because they want to have the child, their bloodline, they call it, when really there is no such thing as a bloodline per se. It's an adopted child is just as much your child as a birth child. So go ahead and fill out the forms and have an adopted child. Give a poor child who's unwanted a home and who needs a loving home and who wants one. And that way we can control our population, though I know that's impossible. But it is a way to get rid of the overpopulation trouble. It's going to take a while to get our numbers down that way, but eventually we will if we adopt at a birth. Doesn't mean you don't have to have any kids, just have one instead. The one-child policy in China worked for years until they got rid of it. Now they're starting to become overpopulated, just like every other country. Here in the U.S., we're so overpopulated, we don't even want to have any people from outside the country come into this country because of the white supremacy of hatred for others that aren't white. Boy, have we been seeing shit like that so long now here in the U.S. But it's something we also have to get over, don't we? Yeah, I know. What are you thinking? This is a white nation. It needs to stay white. Well, I hate to tell you, but after you're dead and gone, within 100 years, this nation will no longer have a majority of white people. And that's just the way that's going to be. It's going to go back to the way it was before the white people took it over. I definitely do appreciate your guys' comments on my video, on my last video. The ups, the downs, the new subscribers, and until next time.